Okay, it's official. We have breaking news, hot off the press here. Patrick Reusse Unchained, presented by Josh Arnold, by the way. You nailed it, Pat. Thad Levine. Now, the way they're phrasing this is Thad Levine will pursue other areas of professional interest, both inside and outside of baseball, but he will not be brought back as the right-hand man, the general manager of the Minnesota Twins. Your thoughts?
Yes. He was. I'd heard his contract was up, so they were not going to renew it. And he had this Falvey thing caught on early, and it's you can still find it. I don't think people say that much more anymore. But the last 3-4 years, Thad hasn't really had any influence. I mean, he's been around and he's done things for them. But as far as when did he stop appearing at the press conferences along with Derek? About
5
3
years
ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Three, 4 years ago. So
I saw him a handful of times this season, like walk with Thad into the clubhouse like they do post game. Not a ton, but I saw him a few times. But he's been MIA for the majority of that.
I also saw him, in the back of the room, and I think at the press conference that Boris did with Correa, that Thad was sitting in the back somewhere. So with the rest of us. So it's been going on for a while. He got when they were good, in 2019, he got a couple of good interviews. And was getting a little credit then, but that he didn't get either of those tours. Phillies was one of them, right?
Mets,
jobs.
Mets talked to him too.
Mets too, and he had 2-3 chances, but he didn't win the interview apparently, and then he kind of as the Twins fell off to some degree, he fell off too as a candidate, and I wouldn't be surprised. He's a sharp guy, man. He could go somewhere else in sports and be some kind of a PR person for some outfit trying to win media rights or whatever.
Yeah, he's taken. I've heard behind the scenes that I think he's even been on the board for some non-sports companies around the Twin Cities. So he's been sort of sniffing around and interested in business outside of baseball for sure. So this isn't complete BS.
No, his wife loves it up here because she loves she's a very exercise conscious lady, and she loves the fact that you can go out running and you can do all these things here in the Twin Cities. She's been a big fan of the Twin Cities, and I'm not saying he was offered a GM job anywhere else, but she wanted it to be a good move. I think he could have gone back to Texas a couple of times, and I heard she did not want to. So, but hey, good luck to him. He's a good fellow. So,
do you want the statement from Falvey?
I think I just glanced at it, but go ahead. Yes.
Okay. I just want to get your thoughts on this. Thad's impact on the Minnesota Twins cannot be overstated, Derek Falvey said. He has been a true partner and leader, always striving to elevate the organization and care for the people around him. Thad helped create a strong team culture focused on excellence and collaboration that will continue well into the future. A lot of buzzwords here. While we will miss his leadership, we are equally excited to see the next chapter of his journey unfold, and we wish him nothing but success in his future endeavors.
All right. Well, that's very nice. That's certainly good.
If I could translate quickly, we desperately needed a scapegoat, and this was really convenient for us that his contract was up.
I don't think it's scapegoat because I don't think they tried to. They didn't have him around enough to be any of us to make him responsible for anything. So
no, but they can say. I mean, I'm looking at the national baseball writers, like general manager opening in Minnesota.
No, there's not. I don't believe. I don't think there is. I don't think there's an opening. Now it depends upon what happens with Derek. There are rumors that Derek could be the team president. So, and then that would certainly
the whole thing, Pat.
Open up the job for a powerful general manager instead of one in name only. So,
what does Derek know about running a business operation?
He's a graduate of the highfalutin Trinity College out east, and
great.
I'm sure that he could run a business operation. His degree might be in economics. I have no idea. But I don't think it
Good luck
would
with
be a
that.
lack of. I mean, what the hell? We get, but you don't have to run a business operation. You just got to be a smart guy, right? Look at
Well,
numbers.
you
Can
gotta, you
look at
gotta,
Yeah,
you
people
numbers?
gotta get,
skills though
you
too,
gotta
and he
get
lacks some
fans.
people skills here. Like that, no. Like
No, he
there's the
gets
things.
along with
Television. He's not
Falvey
not
gets
great. He's not
Falvey
great.
gets along with everybody though. He's not.
Well,
He
that's
wouldn't be a problem.
fantastic. But you're telling me so he's going to solve the TV problem? He's going to solve the
I'm
fans?
just saying it's a rumor. I have
Well,
no
it's
idea if it's happening.
So you're reporting specifically, just no.
No,
Joe Polad, if you do that, you're dumber than I thought you were, and I think you're pretty dumb right now.
well, I would not think. I would not think hiring Falvey as a team president would be dumb. I don't. I disagree. I disagree. What do you want to do? I mean, I don't know if Dave's. I hopefully Dave can hang around a couple more years, but I don't know. They're. I'm sure they're shook up right now. I got a new theory, by the way. You want to hear it on the Twins?
Yes, please.
I think they should tear it up and start all over again. When you look at this division, when you look at these two young teams, they're doing what they're doing. I mean, you got to keep Correa and keep Buxton, obviously, because you don't have any choice. But I think you should, if you got any young guys, you should start bringing them in. And I'm not this idea that you're going to patch it up again and be good. I don't think this thing can be patched.
So you're trading Pablo Lopez. You're trading Joe Ryan.
Well, it depends.
Reusse Lewis.
Depends upon what I get. Depends upon what I can get. But I think that I just don't think that they should trying to be. They should fool themselves that they were close this year. When you look at the division now, and plus they got to look at Cleveland and say, how did they do that? How did they?
Well, the Twins
no
did that 8
payroll.
years ago.
Yeah,
Huh?
that's
The
gonna-
Twins did that exact thing 8 years ago.
That's the problem.
Yeah. I mean, how did but Cleveland did this on the run. I don't know how they did it. They lost all these guys. They have no payroll. They lost their best pitcher and they won a lot of games. So something's going on there that's a lot smarter than what's going on here.
The Twins should hire someone from the Guardians organization
That's the-
that knows the
that's the
secrets.
issue.
That already. We
Right.
tried that already. The trouble is they don't have that many guys on the come right now, right? That are this, waiting to break in. It's certainly not like 82 when Calvin got rid of everybody and said to hell with it. And then they had 7 or 8 guys who, young guys who could play and be part of winning a World Series. They don't, the one guy they talk about, as I've said, is Emmanuel Rodriguez, and he might set a new standard for being injured. He plays about 50 games a year in the minor leagues. So, they got some serious issues, but I don't think if they only spend another $20 million, they're going to put it back together. It ain't happening. I don't see it. I think
I agree with that. They're not
So
$20
who
million.
goes
away.
though, Pat? Like, so
Huh?
if they do indeed, like you just said, blow it up, who's out?
As players,
Yeah.
well, you need a new catcher. You got to find a catcher somewhere. They one can't catch, the other can't hit. You need a first baseman. I mean, who's out? You don't screw around with Kirilloff anymore. You don't screw around with 3 or 4 of these guys. You make your choice between Larnick and Wallner. One of those you keep, one you get rid of, and you just start doing it all over again. Because I think they're really in arrears now. When I look at that Detroit team and look at Kansas City. Kansas City did add veterans, but they also have the best player in baseball, and they got him signed. And guess what? I was watching the Brewers last night, and that Churio, the Brewers are going to go out and sign him to about a 9-year deal, right? Or did they already? Was he
They
the guy
already did.
that already signed?
Yeah, they
already
did.
signed him.
Yep.
This can't be patched, is what I'm saying. By bringing in another veteran pitcher, if we'd only done that, blah blah blah.
Maybe, Pat, is it possible that Thad was the guy that recommended the new lights in the clubhouse and they solved that problem for you?
That's right. Yeah, right. We're really bright. What was our record in day games at home, by the way? Did we kick
It was
ass?
better.
I don't-
Yeah.
It
It was
was
better.
Okay. Yeah,
Night games
I
were
think
a problem.
maybe they should have guys come around and right before the game and like flashlights in their face and ask them hard questions like they're being interrogated for a
Hey,
crime or
first and
something.
third, 2 outs. Runner goes. What do you do?
And the crap. Start worrying about baseball.
Yeah.
Fire the biochemist. That's what I say. Fire the biochemist. You know, God Almighty.
If they were to if Falvey were to go up to the president job, does that mean that Joe Pollad would technically have to address that again? Would he have to face like? Can Falvey just go up there and say, "Hey, I have a new job"? Like, I don't think you can formally, professionally
Oh, you
do
have to
that.
talk about it.
Oh,
Well,
it would be-
if that's
would be
happening, it wouldn't
St.
happen today, right?
No,
Yeah.
no. St. Pete is, I don't know what St. Pete's status is, but they're looking for they're going to be looking for a lot of scapegoats this winter when they're not selling any season tickets instead of looking at themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's because at its core, you need to get fans to buy back in. And the only way to really do that is to go on a spending spree, like a Padres spending spree. And
That ain't happening.
they're not going to do that.
No.
So they could either kind of stand, I mean, there'll be some turnover, but they could kind of stand pat, basically, or they could do what you're saying, which is youth movement, start over, but that's going to go even deeper in with fans in terms of apathy and negativity.
Yeah,
It's a really bad
then
spot.
it also puts you in a place where budget wise you don't have to you don't have to worry about that attendance. If you go down to 1.6, you're not going to. But here's the deal: I think they ought to go back to having the poll ads say nothing. They were better off when they had Jim, who basically said nothing ever. Once in a while, somebody get him to utter 3 sentences. The old man was the same way. He never said anything. I think they're better off saying nothing, don't you? Because every time they've tried to.
Well, Dave has always been Dave St. Peter has been a savvy and good spokesperson for a long time.
But he hasn't talked for a long time. That's the thing is who is their spokesperson right now? And if it's Joe, then you might want to give him some talking points that are actually productive. But the most important thing, look, this whole thing now, I think is going to be incremental steps back. Like, I don't think that you're going to have a couple guys sign and be like, everyone's back. I think an incremental step is saying, hey, for the 2025 season, people can watch our games again, and here's where. And there's going to be no problems because it's going to be a slow process back.
Yeah, it is.
You got to make the games available. That's just the starting point.
But I guess what I'm trying to tell you is if they go out and buy 2 veterans, and say, okay, we spent more money, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win.
That's fair.
Detroit's for real, I think. Who are these guys? I never heard of. They got about 8 guys that have showed up in the last 2 months, and they're going to be around because they got pitching. They're going to sign that Scooble now to about a 12-year contract, probably.
They got better without Javi. Baez, if you look at their ascension, it basically coincides with Javi being shelved for the entire season.
And he's terrible now. And then Miguel Cabrera was like a minus WAR player for them the last couple of years too.
Oh yeah, he was. They were. That's where you get with sentiment. That's where you get with sentiment in this game, right? We can't be mean to Miguel, even though if he hits a triple, he might not make it to first. we gotta be. I'm glad you brought up Miguel because that can kind of go along with whatever rant I decide to go on for tomorrow's newspaper. But they're. Anyway, what a horrible loss for our Brew Crew last night. Speaking of a miracle team, they cut their payroll, they got rid of everybody, and they had a great season, and then they got her all won, and Devin Williams, hung a changeup? Somebody, Alonso hit a 3-runner to right field.
He
had a terrible game. He was awful all game, hit that, and he's the hero. So,
yeah. Do you think the network that's doing TV is a little happier about the Mets? Do you think you're a little happier if you're doing the National League instead of the American League TV-wise? You got San Diego and the Dodgers and the Mets and the Phillies. the other guy's got who's playing Cleveland? Which one of our
Detroit.
Detroit's
Detroit.
playing Cleveland, and then the Yankees are playing Kansas City.
Yeah.
So yeah, the National League is. You know what? Somebody was telling me this year how weak the American League was, and I didn't know if I believed it or not. But you look at it, it's looking pretty weak, isn't it? Looking pretty weak.
It's not the strongest. Yeah. I
No.
mean, but it is baseball. So if that's the thing, if one of these teams is the Tigers, hottest team in baseball for a month and a half, maybe the best starting pitcher in the entire playoffs.
Well, it happened last year in this new system. These best of three, one team's ballpark, you win two. I think last night there's been 20 of these now. Have there been 20 of these?
20 of the series, the wild card series, or
these wild card series or whatever, these best of three all in one place.
Yeah, it's like 20. Yes.
Four of them have gone to a third game.
Yeah.
That's it.
Something like that. Yeah. They've all been sweeps. Boom, boom. You lose the first one, you get nervous. The second one, you're gone. Last year, you end up with Arizona and Texas in the World Series. It's a crapshoot. It's more of a crapshoot than it's ever been because of that first round. Because you can get good teams knocked out without a blink of an eye,
Yeah.
So.
Hey, Pat, before we get your official Vikings prediction, if our guy Thad Levine has some more time on his hands to drive around and see the beautiful fall colors, where should he go get a car?
I don't know if he qualifies, but he would, he's a pretty good talker. He's a nice guy. We could use him at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group
sell some cars,
GM dealers. He could sell some cars.
Cool.
Anyway, can't sell the Twins, but he could sell some cars. Anyway, Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. Right now, we got full stock of everything, 4 kinds of Buick SUVs, a new Buick station wagon, a Regal version of the station wagon. It's fantastic. We have Sierra trucks, the big heavy-duty trucks everybody loves, and they're all on sale with factory rebates. And also low interest rates, 0.9, 1.9. Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers. They're my guys. I go to Apple Valley, but they also have a store in Hastings. And, keeps being a great time to buy a car right now compared to 3 years ago when they couldn't find chips and they couldn't find new cars. Now you have full stock. Everything's back in order. And they're doing great at Jim Paul and Brett Paul's Valley Group of GM dealers.
Yeah. Okay, London, Vikings, Jets. What's going to happen?
Is it still, what is it here? What's the number now?
2.5. Vikings 2.5.
Can't be 2.5. It's stealing. It's stealing. If that down payment you got for a car, take it. I better not say that.
Whoa, Pat, hold on.
Not that.
What's the max at St. Croix? What's the max?
It's you're confident in the 2.5.
God, they're gonna
Let us know.
They're awful. The Jets are awful. They're arguing about whether they have the proper cadence or not. And they had how many false starts did they have?
5. 13 penalties, 5 false starts.
13 penalties, 5 false starts because Aaron's still trying to fool the other team and he's fooling himself. 5 teams. He's over the hill. He's washed up, and they stink. If our guys show up, and they should, why wouldn't they? I hear they're letting them stay Monday, right, and party or something.
Oh, really? We're staying over a day.
Staying over a day because they're off next week, right?
They do have a bye week, yeah.
Oh, okay. Staying over and letting them.
So families come out, explore, have some boiled potatoes.
Just a beloved family, and I think they'll kick their ass. I really do. I don't think it'll be a contest.
Don't rent a boat. Is that what you muttered?
Don't rent a boat. That's all I got to say. Okay. No boats.
In Britain?
Yeah.
In London?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, have a good time. But I don't see how it's a contest. Do you? I don't.
I mean, I don't want to jinx anything, but I've been on the same take for a few days too. I think the Jets are much closer to firing Robert Saleh than they are to beating the Vikings. So.
Yes. Yeah, that's probably true because they got all that money. Why did they think that Rodgers was going to come in at age 40 a year ago and turn them into a powerhouse. God, teams do stupid
Jets.
things.
The Jets are the most desperate franchise in professional sports.
They do stupid things. Man.
Before his Achilles went, though, I think that they thought that he was coming off a decent enough year. The problem was, once his Achilles went, that might have just been it.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, by the way, speaking of Achilles, I didn't watch any of the Falcons last night. I wake up this morning. I'm up reading the paper at 6:15. I almost had a heart attack. Cousins 509 yards.
Yeah, it was wild. The end of the game, so fans left because he threw a terrible, what looked like game-ending interception with like a minute 30 left.
Again,
but they had
saved it. Yeah.
But they had 3 timeouts left, and Tampa Bay went super conservative on their 3 plays. There was a penalty, and there was a blown. There should have been a face mask call, but anyways, Tampa winds up punting it into the end zone on accident.
Okay.
And Kirk gets the ball back, and they drive into field goal range to tie it, and then they win the coin toss, and they go down and win it. So.
Hey, the team that they beat at the last minute last time was who?
The Saints last week.
The Saints, and they played that prevent defense. Did these guys do the same thing and let him just throw 20-yard passes? What is wrong with these teams?
The whole game actually that's the defense they played on him.
Wow. 509 yards. I'm still happy we don't have him, but unbelievable. That looks good on the resume. 509 looks good.
Yeah, we never doubted him on this show, so I.
No, we didn't either. No, that's right. You guys have been all full of his support here on.
Absolutely, never doubted. Yep. All right, Pat. Well, enjoy your sports weekend, and we'll catch you on Monday.
Hey, who do the Gophers play? I haven't noticed.
USC's in town.
Oh, in here, UFC?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Have they been here since OJ?
Yeah, 2000. They played here against
that's
Kill.
right. They played Brew here.
Home and home.
Right? They played Coach Brew here. That's right.
No, Kill, right? Because I think
Brew.
Kill's first or second game was out there, and then they reciprocated. But it might have been Brewster then Kill.
Time.
Yeah. But no, they played him since OJ.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Southern Cal ain't great. Gophers play like they did last week. They might sneak her out.
We'll see. We'll see what PJ's got up his.
I guess I haven't followed them closely enough this week, not knowing they were playing Southern Cal. I should have paid a little more attention. I'm sorry, PJ.
It's okay. He'll forgive me. All right. See you,
Pat.
Reusse Unchained,
Bye.
presented by Josh Arnold.